Did I make the right choice of not going to Raw in my hometown of Lafayette, Louisiana? I think so. It's time for WGS-TV Reviews, Monday Night Raw for the week of February 18th, 2019. Hey YouTube, are you ready for your hot tag? Because if you are, it's definitely time to warp.
Hi, this is Leva Bates, aka Blue Pants, and you're watching WGS-TV.
What's up, guys? I'm the Russell Gamer. Welcome back to another episode of WGS-TV right here on YouTube.com. And also, coincidentally, this review is being recorded live here on Twitch. And I would like to welcome two guests here to the review this week. First off, you know him as the Studly Man, Ashley. Ashley, how you doing? Ashley.
Yeah, it does help when you unmute your mic when you actually prepare with your headset. Anyway, what I was trying to say is Billy does his intros like he's Tony Chimmel. Superstar.
And here's the superstar of Hardcore Wrestling Radio, the one, the only Rickhead. Rick, how are you?
I'm doing all right, and yeah, last night's Raw was, despite a few announcements, it was kind of disappointing.
Yep, and also a big shout out to King KB3 in our Twitch chat right now, and I'll be randomly reading comments here out loud here for the sake of the video because he is here watching the live stream on Twitch. First off, I would like to apologize for this review going up as late as it is due to the fact that I needed the proper amount of time to process the lack of reactions from my hometown crowd where I felt they were deemed necessary. Now, what were those moments? To answer that question, let's talk about Raw. Triple H would open up the show talking about what happened Sunday night at Elimination Chamber, including Sasha Banks and Bayley becoming the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Finn Balor becoming the new Intercontinental Champion, and how Kofi Kingston dazzled the crowd with his performance inside the chamber for the WWE Championship. Then Becky Lynch's name was mentioned, which drew kind of a mixed reaction from the crowd, and Triple H mentioned that if Becky attempted to attack Ronda Rousey or Charlotte Flair again, she'll be arrested, but did mention that what she did was kind of cool to him. Then Triple H announced what ESPN apparently announced earlier in the day, that D-Generation X will be inducted into the Hall of Fame, including China as well. Rick, I gotta ask you, what's your reaction to that announcement?
Well, once they mentioned DX, the fact that they had China in there, we talked on HWR's podcast several times that that's probably the only way they're going to bring her in. They're not going to bring her in one-on-one, so doing it as a whole kind of gives it a little bit of props, but for what it is, it's just public, a PR bullshit.
Actually, do you feel with them bringing China in as part of the Generation X group could lead to her possibly having her own induction into the Hall of Fame by herself?
Maybe somewhere down the line, depending if attitudes change within the company. But I think, let's get the most important story here. This is the only way Billy Gunn was getting in the Hall of Fame. Let's be honest.
Yeah, we can be honest with that one, but that wasn't the only announcement Triple H had. Triple H would also made mention of the fact that we had 4 NXT talents making their Raw debut. Richard O'Shea, aka Ricochet, Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano, and Tommasio Ciampa. And to start off the show, it would be Baron Corbin and Braun Strowman facing off in a tables match. Rick, again, I have to ask you your thoughts and your reactions to Triple H announcing that these 4 NXT talents would be making their Raw debut.
For me, I was psyched. All 4 of these guys justly deserve to be called up. For a while, I thought Johnny Gargano just wasn't going to make it. It just seemed like he, it almost reminded me of a Daniel Bryan when he first got the, he first started getting this little push, but kept on losing. But it seemed for him, there was a few times I looked at him like, okay, he's a great wrestler, but they're squashing him and they're just keeping a jobber status. But I'm glad that he made it up, because if you ask me, he deserves it more than probably everybody else. Ricochet, great competitor. Aleister Black, you know, he definitely could, if they played it right, they could almost similar to like an Undertaker, because he has that dark personality.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Now, on last night's reaction stream, Ashley, you expressed your extreme displeasure with them opening up Monday Night Raw with Strowman versus Corbin in a tables match. Why was that?
Because it's a new era where you're going to see brand new matches that you haven't seen before. Cue part 75,000 of this feud that should have ended about 14,000 years ago. Let's be honest.
I agree.
Well, Strowman would go into this match, however, with injured ribs due to Corbin and company putting him through 2 tables at the pay-per-view Sunday night, and would end up being the target of Corbin's attack throughout the entire match. Despite the injured ribs, however, and Corbin's attempts to put him through another table, it would be Strowman power-slamming Corbin through a table he set up in the corner to pick up the win in this tables match. Strowman would then run into Paul Heyman, who was on the stage, which would lead into the next segment. Now, for months leading into this event, the Cajun Dome Facebook page heavily advertised that Brock Lesnar was scheduled to appear at the Cajun Dome for the first time since 2012, I believe. And did we get that, Rick? Honestly, no, and for once, I'm not shocked.
You know what? I am sorry. Every time I see Paul Heyman comes out, I just, okay, time to fall asleep, time to go take a shit or whatever. And I'm more referring to Paul Heyman as the advocate. We all know that Paul Heyman, when it comes to being on the mic, he is brilliant. But the fact that he continues to push Brock Lesnar and uses the same fucking promos, for me, it's kind of embarrassing.
Now, Ashley, do you think that the fact that they just did a clip montage of Brock Lesnar history was just WWE giving everyone a big middle finger for the fact that Brock Lesnar didn't show up for Monday Night Raw?
One, it's subject to a change.
Well, yes.
So, you know, anything can happen. And 2, no disrespect to your near hometown, Billy, but if Brock was going to show up anywhere, it wouldn't be Lafayette. Now remember, they're going to Chicago, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, a few other places. I think Connecticut or something. Or, no, Washington DC, I think, is the Raw before Mania. Going to a lot of towns where they know wrestling is big and the WWE crowds are big. Why would they waste him on Lafayette? You know, a building which, holds maybe 10,000 people at most, Billy?
At most. However, after the clip montage, Paul Heyman tried to continue his promo, but then we get interrupted by the new Intercontinental Champion, Finn Balor. Balor would go on to talk about what an honor it is for him to hold the Intercontinental Championship and to be mentioned in the same breath as some of the Hall of Famers who have held that championship in the past. I.e. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, Bret the Hitman Hart, Ric Flair, and so on and so forth. But then he would get interrupted by a small child. By Lio Rush, who proclaimed that Balor didn't deserve to be the Intercontinental Champion, that the almighty Bobby Lashley deserved to be champion, and the aforementioned Lashley attacked Balor from behind, and then out would come the former NXT North American Champion, Richard O'Shea, aka Ricochet, to make the save, which led to a tag team match being made. Now, for tag team matches being made, Ashley, I kind of like the idea that they were using Ricochet in this fashion.
I mean, yes, but at the same time, you saw what happened at the pay-per-view. It looked as if Lashley had had enough of Lio Rush. So how come all of a sudden they were best friends again, less than 24 hours later?
I don't know. It's really hard, Rick, to kind of, try to guess what's in the minds of WWE creative, because most of the time we're not only criticizing what they come up with, but we're left wondering, do they have any mental capacity to actually come up with something that's actually feasible to watch on TV?
The problem is, honestly, WWE's just completely lost the fucking plot. So, for me, I think Lance Boss always says it's WWE logic.
Well, overall for the match, I did like what I saw out of them. Everyone looked good. Yes, even Lashley looked good, even though I still can't stand him in WWE. The finish of the match was Ricochet hitting the 630 on Lio Rush to pick up the win. Backstage, Drew McIntyre approached Triple H saying that he wanted Seth Rollins so he could prove that he belonged in the main event of WrestleMania. And then Dean Ambrose showed up for whatever reason, said, "How about me?" and then slapped McIntyre in the face. Up next, it was Lucha House Party taking on Curt, Hawkins, and Zack Ryder. Let's just call this what this was. A filler match. If you needed a piss break match, this is exactly what Lucha House Party and Curt, Hawkins, and Zack Ryder was. It was a piss break. Nothing to really take away from this, as the finish of the match was Lince Dorado with a Hurricanrana pin on Hawkins to pick up the win, as the great Hawkins losing streak continues. And then, Rick, something I'm still trying to wrap my head around is, what in the blue fuck were they doing with Heavy Machinery on the stage?
You know, the funny thing is I posted that in the HWR chat room, and I just simply said, what the fuck did I just see? That was it.
Yeah, I know, because we're still trying to make it up, because they were cutting a promo about them being a tag team, stakes and weights and whatnot, and then for some reason, Lacey Evans would strut her way out, and then... Well, actually, I'll let you describe what Heavy Machinery did next.
They did the Vince McMahon strut down the ramp, and then the bushwhacker thing back up as if they were Lacey or something. I don't know. They're mismanaging Heavy Machinery, and I don't know what the shit they're doing with Lacey Evans. The irony is, even though there wasn't a crowd reaction for it last night, the NXT talents that came up, that should have come up the first time round, are getting a better push than the NXT talents that they've been pushing for the last 6 weeks to 2 months.
And here's how you can tell that. Because up next, it was the new Raw Tag Team Champions, the Revival, taking on DIY. No, you didn't mishear me. Revival took on Johnny Gargano and Tommasio Ciampa on a Monday Night Raw. I guess WWE is taking strides to improve on their overall product when it comes to Monday Night Raw. And having this match, in my personal opinion, Rick, is proof of that.
Absolutely. DIY and the Revival, they are no strangers to their great ring chemistry. So for me, I honestly, hands down, it was one of the better matches of the night.
Yep, exactly. And I will say this. There were no shortage of hard bumps in this match, which was great to see out of them, as the finish of the match was Gargano and Ciampa hitting the super kick, I can say it, super kick, running knee combo on Scott Dawson to pick up the win. So now, actually, it begs the question of whether or not they'll give Team DIY a shot at the Raw Tag Team Championship.
Maybe, but first of all, we need to get the titles off them. And I sense somehow there is a final chapter in the feud between DIY coming at Mania. Depending what happens on NXT on Wednesday.
Yep.
/ tomorrow. / yesterday.
Whenever you watch this video. Sasha Banks and Bayley were out there next to talk about them making history, becoming the first ever WWE Women's Champions, although I think the Jumping Bomb Angels and the Glamour Girls might have something to say about that. But then they were interrupted by Nia Jax and Tamina, and I gotta say, Rick, there is a reason why Tamina doesn't cut promos, because what she did on Raw with her line was fucking awful.
You know what? It was, but you gotta be honest, Sasha Banks and Bayley, that promo was took long forever. They were stuttering, they were lost for words, and I don't think it was a gimmick. I think they honestly tried an open mic and they didn't know what the fuck to say. So for me, the whole segment was just, I almost fell asleep, in the chair.
Ashley, what are your thoughts?
I fell asleep in the chair.
Well, up next.
I actually did.
Well, up next it was Drew McIntyre taking on Dean Ambrose, and once again it was another short match with nothing to take away from it at that point, as McIntyre would hit 2 Claymore kicks on the Lunatic Fringe to pick up the win. After that, we would see the continuation of Paul Heyman narrating a video package about how great Brock Lesnar is, and following that, probably one of the funniest segments I've seen on Monday Night Raw in quite some time, Seth Rollins was responding to it backstage until Dean Ambrose appeared and asked Rollins why he wasn't out there, and then the look, Ashley, that Ambrose gave Rollins, if you guys were here during the Twitch reaction stream, you just kind of saw me absolutely lose it, because I thought that was like one of the freaking funniest things I've ever seen on Raw in quite some time.
Yeah, but in the sweet irony that summed up the show. Eh.
And Rick, I know you posted that exact picture on your HWR Facebook page. What kind of reaction did it get from the people who follow your group?
Laughing. We were all laughing our ass off. I even had to quote it. Seth Rollins just looked at me and goes, "Have you completely lost your mind?" Actually, one person kind of made a fair point. Is they're probably making, I believe it was Lance Moss over at Lance Moss TV, who was saying they're probably going to make him like he's completely lost it due to the rumors of him not re-signing at this April when his contract ends.
Yeah, that actually is a fair point if you think about it, the way he's been doing promos as of late. But up next, it was Elias taking on Aleister Black. Had I been there last night, I would have properly popped for Black. So I don't understand why the people in the Cajun Dome didn't. In fact, for the majority of this match, they didn't pop until the actual finish, which was Black connecting with the Black Mass on Elias to pick up the win. And Ashley, all I can say is I seriously have no explanation for the lack of reaction from the Cajun Dome crowd.
I think I can. You know how much there was public? Because obviously the dirt sheets reported it a few hours before Raw. You know when it was made public officially on WWE's YouTube? Or no, WWE's like social media stuff? About 1 hour. So everybody who was there probably didn't even look at social media to find out that it was, you know, they were going to be there. Tonight, there was a bit of a hint that there might be, for SmackDown, that people, that, you know, we might be seeing them again because it was on the write-up that they did. So there was enough chance for them to get attention there, which they did more so, admittedly. So maybe it's just Lafayette just doesn't watch the network.
Rick,
you know,
Rick, do you think the same
it's a
thing?
shame you couldn't go, because you could have actually surveyed people as they came out and saying, "You watch the network, do you? You ignorant fuck."
Rick, do you think the same thing?
Honestly, I don't know. It's kind of weird because I was marking up, even if it was like WWE never even announced it. Anybody who truly follows NXT, yeah, they would have got the pop. As far as the match itself, it was a great match, but for me, it felt like they kind of are now starting to put Elias on the back burner again. He got this push for a while. The fans would get behind him. 1 minute he's a heel, next minute he's a face. 1 minute he's a heel, next minute he's a face. And now he's just back down to jobber status. It's a shame because I believe he's good on the mic and he's got some great wrestling skills.
And who do you know? And who do we have to thank for that? Thank you, Jeff Jarrett. Anyway, the main event for my hometown crowd in the Cajun Dome was for the Raw Women's Championship as Ronda Rousey defended the championship against Ruby Riott. Yes, the very same match from Elimination Chamber where they fucking buried the hell out of Riott was going to be the main event of Raw this week. So right off the bat, I didn't have my hopes up for a stellar match. And if we're being honest here, we didn't get that. But I would feel would qualify. We didn't get what I would feel personally would qualify as a main event match. But unlike the match at Elimination Chamber, it wasn't a complete squash of Ruby. But again, with all the hype being built up for WrestleMania and whatnot, Rick, and just like an Elimination Chamber, I just knew they weren't going to drop the title off of Ronda.
You know what? I agree that they weren't going to drop the title, but I will say this. You know me, I have really a lot of disdain for Ronda Rousey because the way she came in, the way they gave her the push. But last night, I had to give her props. That match overall was a lot better than it was on the Chamber. And Rousey actually showed that she's definitely upping her arsenal and her wrestling skills. I'm not ready to say she's the greatest or the best or whatever, but for me, you know, I definitely had to give her a gold star for that match.
Well, yeah, I would have to agree with on that one, on that aspect, Ashley. I mean, like I said before, it wasn't a complete squash of Ruby like it was at Elimination Chamber. It was at least somewhat, I guess, I wouldn't say they wouldn't have they didn't lopside the odds in Ronda's favor, but it was at least a decent match from what it was.
Yeah, it did what it had to do, although it is worth noting it nearly WCW'd the show again. Oh, we're out of time. Get off there.
Okay. So now it's time for overall scores and thoughts. Raw from my hometown of Lafayette, Louisiana was sadly a little disappointing, so I'm kind of glad I didn't go and spend the money to go to the Cajun Dome, because what they delivered to me wasn't worth the cash. Sometimes the actual experience of being there live can be different from watching it at home on TV, but for once, I'm glad I didn't go. There was little to no crowd reaction for the NXT guys, and despite the fact that the Cajun Dome Facebook page heavily advertised that Brock Lesnar was scheduled to appear, he didn't, so no shocker there whatsoever. So, sadly, my score for Raw this week gets a 2.5 out of 5, with best match of the night going to Team DIY taking on the Revival, with worst segment of the night going to my hometown crowd for not knowing the NXT guys. Shape up, Lafayette, Louisiana, and know your fucking wrestling! Rick, over to you first. What's your overall score and thoughts on Raw this week?
Well, you know, like I said, in the first hour, there's like at least 4 or 5 commercials, breaks. They do 3 hours. I don't fucking know why, because it's all promos. You know, like I said, some of the matches there were definitely great. It was good to see the NXT guys come up despite whatever the fans' response was. So I'll give it a 2.75. So 2.75. They could have done a lot more with all that time. It's time I can pushing Brock Lesnar over that nobody gives a fuck about.
Yep, Ashley, over to you. What's your overall score and thoughts on Raw this week?
Honestly, 2, because it's weird to think how much of an element the crowd it makes a show, but last night it felt like a house show, just in terms of the crowd response, and you know, the fact that we had rematches from the night before and matches that we keep seeing. Okay, we had the NXT people, but there was no real connection with the fans and whatever, for whatever reason, and it just felt very lackluster. Yep.
So that's been our thoughts on Monday Night Raw this week, guys. We want to know from you guys out there, the viewers and subscribers, your thoughts on Monday Night Raw. What are your overall scores? What are your thoughts on Monday Night Raw this week? I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. Be sure you put your comments in the comment section below. If you guys like this video, be sure you slam that like button. And like a chimp, Rick is over on Hardcore Wrestling Radio. Where can fans check you out?
Well, right now, pretty much our primary base is over in the group section on Facebook under the name HWR Chat Room. Every Friday night, Lio Rush Night hosts 4 Corner Rants. Myself, the Lance Moss, Kayla Hobbs, and a whole bunch of other people who've gone to jump on back and forth. We try to talk about the latest news and rumors, and also we in the chat room I do Raw play-by-plays, as well as kind of keep up with the latest news and rumors or dirt sheets. And if you want to check out a lot of other videos, go over on youtube.com, HWR Show.
And if you guys want to see more wrestling talk with awesome gameplays right here on the YouTube channel, you know, two ways you got to do it. You got to leg up the subscribe button and hit that bell icon to turn on notifications so that way you guys will never miss out on another video right here on my channel. So with that being said, for the Studly Man Ashley and the hardcore host of Hardcore Wrestling Radio, Rick Head, I'm your friendly neighborhood Russell Gamer, reminding all of you guys out there to just stay awesome. Bye, guys!